Sai Ram. Welcome to the Sri Sathya Sai Seva Gurukulam videos. Today we are going to learn a beautiful lesson about, we'll see the title. All the world her stage. Who is her in the story? So what do you think? Why she made the whole world her stage? We will see, right? Let's see how the story begins. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Sai, named Sai, right? Her name is Sai Paranjpye. So Sai was a bit plump and her mates used to make fun of her. Plump means a chubby girl. All her friends used to make fun of her. What kind of teasing they used to make it seems? How they used to tease? You can't run with us, Sai. Dear Chandu, a friend named Chandu, commented like this. Never can you keep yourself active. You are too fat. Added Devyani. You make our team weak, said Meera unkindly. All these other comments, she used to get it from all the friends every day. Right? So if we are in that position, yes, if you are in Sai Paranjpye's position, what would you do? You'll be very much disappointed and you feel so sad and you feel depressed. But is Sai Paranjpye also of same attitude? Has she done the same thing? We will see. What would have been your reaction if your friends make fun of you? Yes, what is your reaction? Generally, our reaction would be, as we discussed now, it would be like this. You'll be very angry. How dare you tease me? And you start fighting with the other friend, right? And then hatred. I hate them to the core. You obviously hate them because they started teasing you, right? Inferior. Yeah, my fit for nothing. Because all the girls, all the students in the class, all the classmates were teasing you. So then what happens? You start feeling inferior. You are not fit for anything, right? Then sad. No one likes you. So you'll be very sad, depressed, angry. These are the different kinds of opinions you will have it about your friends. And you start feeling so bad, disappointed, right? But what happened to Sai Paranjpye? Has she also reacted in the same manner? Let's see. Did you know what Sai Paranjpye did when she faced this as a child? We'll see what she has done. What an attitude. Okay, Sai Paranjpye has a different attitude, it seems. Right? What type of attitude she has, we will see now. What she has done, has she started feeling bad, depressed, sitting in a corner place, and she was feeling inferior, she was feeling so sad or angry and scolding the classmates, or she was taking the things in a different manner. We will see that, right? Sai's face crumpled and she sat lonely by the sidelines watching her friends laugh and play happily. Soon her face brightened. Initially when the classmates have told like that, she was little bit annoyed, little bit depressed. But immediately she thought, let me plan something, right? What was her plan? Let's see. She started, I know of a lovely game. It's a magic island full of hidden treasures. Then what did she do it since? She started telling when all the classmates were playing, she came there and she started telling, I know a lovely game where all the hidden treasures will be there and you will have a lot of fun. When they heard about the hidden treasures, all the other classmates, they started asking, your stories are so thrilling. She started telling some stories. Your stories are so thrilling. Wow, let's enact this one. Can we play this tomorrow as well? We all are here, Sai. So all the girls, all the classmates, boys and the girls who teased this girl, now when these girls started narrating different stories, lovely stories, right? Then what the classmates have done it since? Classmates started appreciating. They all loved the stories of Sai Paranjpye, right? So this should be the attitude of every one of us. We too face so many troubles, so many problems in our life. So should we sit a corner and start feeling bad for everything? No, that should not be the attitude of a person. What we should do? We should see our good qualities or positive qualities instead of feeling bad for the negative quality. Everyone will have one or the two, some bad qualities or negative qualities. But we should be very happy with our good qualities. That's what Sai Paranjpye has done in the story. Yes. Now let's see the next part. So we are going to learn. What are we going to learn in this story? Once upon a time. We have seen what Sai Paranjpye is and what is her attitude is. We'll learn more about Sai Paranjpye in the next coming slides, right? What would you do? If you are depressed, what would you do? We generally be very much sad. But Sai Paranjpye was not like that. What an attitude. Yes, we all now appreciate the way Sai Paranjpye reacted. Yes. Frog race story. Now we are going to, just when I was looking at this, when I was looking at the slides, I thought of one story, frog story. I'll narrate that story to you. Shall we all share that story? Shall I share that story to you? We'll do that. Who is Sai Paranjpye then? What is she? Why she has become so important? We'll see that. Who inspired Sai? Someone must be an inspiring character in our life. Your mother or your father, your teacher. Someone inspires you, right? So who inspired Sai? We'll see. Flair of imagination. What kind of imagination she used to create in her stories? That also we'll see. From 8 to 82, from the age of 8 to 82, what are her works? What made her work so special? Doll weddings. What is this doll weddings? One of her fascinations. One of Sai Paranjpye's favorite fascination, it seems. Okay? A pleasant surprise. What was a pleasant surprise? Sai Paranjpye got a pleasant surprise in the story. What was the pleasant surprise? We will see. Okay? A frog race. Let's see a small story which connects to this lesson. I'll narrate the story, you'll understand it, and you feel so impressed, so inspired. Okay? Let me tell you the story. Shall I narrate the story for all of you? Yes, I know that you all are very interested to listen to the stories. Let's see the story now. Once upon a time, there were bunch of frogs. Bunch of frogs means number of frogs, right? All the little frogs, small little frogs, they all made a competition. They all planned for a competition. What was the competition? What was the goal? The goal was to reach the high top of a mountain. Okay, high top of a mountain. All the frogs, all the little frogs who were the contestants, they all reached near a high top, hilltop. All the other frogs also have come and gathered there. Then what happened? These frogs, the little frogs, the contestants started climbing. Slowly they started climbing. And the other frogs who gathered there, they started telling that, this is such a big high hilltop, and how about these little frogs going to climb? It would be very difficult for them. It's not of their job. Like this, they started commenting. Then these little frogs, one after the other started collapsing. Because there was no motivation for them. All the frogs who have gathered there started commenting. Then some of the frogs, little frogs, they collapsed. And other frogs did not listen to the gathering's comments and they started climbing. But all the other frogs who gathered there they were yelling, "Oh, it's not of your task. It's so difficult for you. You cannot do it." Like this, they started telling. Even other frogs also, what happened? Started collapsing. And there was no frog. Only one little frog was there, which was climbing, and it was putting effort. One little frog was putting effort and it reached the high top. How is it possible? When all the other frogs, all the contestants, hundreds of contestants have come there and started climbing, when it was not possible for all the frogs because of the comments, why it was only possible for one frog, little frog. It reached the high top. How is it possible? Because, shall I tell you the secret? Yes, let me reveal the secret to you. Because it was a deaf frog. The frog was deaf. It can't hear. It was a deaf frog. So when it is a deaf frog, what happens? It can't hear the comments of the other frogs, right? It climbed as if no one bothered her, no one disturbed her, and it was looking at when these people know, when the other frogs were yelling and all the other frogs were falling, it was thinking that maybe the other frogs were inspiring, motivating this frog. So finally, what did this little frog do? Reached the high top. This should be an attitude in our life. Never bother about the negative comments and always keep going. If you keep going, what happens? It will help you to reach your goal. Okay, let's see. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Think positive, capitalize on your strengths, ignore pessimistic criticisms. People criticize you in the life. What are we supposed to do? We just have to think positive and we shouldn't bother about the people who criticize you. That should be an attitude of a person in the life. Then you can reach your goal so easily, right? That is what Sai Paranjpye also has done it in the story. Let's see. We have seen in the previous slide that we are going to learn about who is Sai Paranjpye. Shall we see who is Sai Paranjpye? Let's see. See, there are so many qualities of Sai Paranjpye. Let's see what she is. She is a filmmaker, famous theatre director from Pune, has made many films and TV serials. National Award. She received a National Award, won the National Award for the best documentary with a social purpose. Air and DD. Started career with All India Radio and later worked as director of Doordarshan DD in Delhi. CFSI. Served twice as the chairperson of Children's Film Society of India, CFSI. The girl who was not able to do anything and who was teased by everyone. What happened to Sai Paranjpye in the later days? These are the different things she achieved in her life. This is what happens if you don't think about the criticisms in your life, right? Many more things are there to learn from Sai Paranjpye. Let's see what are the other things. Yes, who inspired Sai then? So you will also have some inspiration. You have your teachers, parents and your friends as inspirations for you. Now let's see who inspired Sai. Who was Sai's inspiration in the life? It was familiar sight to the residents of Pune. A plump little girl of about 6 or 7 skipping along with an elderly gentleman. They laughed, talked and had a great time. Yes, 7 or 6 years old girl. Right? So generally, 6 or 7 years old girls or the children, they would like to play with their age people, their age kids. But this girl is something different. She had one good friend. Who was that good friend? It was her grandfather. So she used to spend most of the time with the grandfather, playing, skipping, everything. And all the other neighbors used to laugh. What is this small girl always used to spend time with the grandfather? Yes? Sai's grandfather. Let's see who is Sai's grandfather and what he is. So Sai's grandfather, who was an inspiration to this girl. So what was he? Who was a famous educationist and mathematician and India's first senior wrangler. Who is a wrangler? Wrangler is the person who takes a degree from the maths degree from the Cambridge University. He's the first man, it seems. Was one person who inspired and tapped on Sai's excellent story writing and imagination skills at her early age. His name was Sir R.P. Paranjpye. And Sai called him fondly as Appa. Right? Sai used to call grandfather as Appa. This man is the inspiration. He was the inspiration for the girl Sai Paranjpye. You also have the inspirations, right? So this girl's inspiration was Appa. Who is Appa? Grandfather, right? When they used to go for the walk, yes, when they used to go for the walk, no, so what they used to do, as they walked, Appa put simple mathematical questions and also related fables to her. As a naturally creative child, Sai preferred fables over math problems. So when they were going for walk every day, our grandfather used to put some questions, mathematical questions, and the girl was very interested to answer that. She was so interested to answer those. Fables would include, and some fables, some stories, right? Arabian Nights, Bible stories, fairy tales. As the young children, you also like the fables, and when you get some leisure time, you'll be reading all the storybooks, right? Even Sai Paranjpye used to get many questions and stories from grandfather Appa. Those stories, the fables would include, these are the fables, right? Who inspired Sai? We have already known about this. Sai's grandfather inspired Sai, right? Let's see, there is one incident which took place between both of them. One day, Sai stepped on a book by mistake as she rushed into the library. Stop right there, ordered her grandfather. What did grandfather say? Stop there, right. Don't move from there. What did the girl do? Girl, unfortunately, without, by mistake, she stepped on a book in the library. Sai froze. Why did Sai freeze? Because grandfather never orders or screams at the girl. But for the first time, grandfather ordered Sai, stop there. So, do you know what you just did? You kicked knowledge. That's what you did. Now ask forgiveness of the book. Even at home, when we step on the books or on a paper, what your mother or father would say? They say, please take forgiveness or take forgiveness from the book, right? So they say in the same manner, Sai Paranjpye's grandfather also did the same thing. Then what did the girl do? Sai bent meekly and did namaskar to the book. She did. She bent meekly, very timidly, very innocently. She bent and took namaskar of the book. The same punishment was given when he discovered a dog-eared book. There was a book which has dog ears. You know the dog ears, no? Corners will be bent. Most of the time it will be folded, right? So those are called as the dog-eared books. So there was one book was there with this. There are some books, okay, one or two books with Sai Paranjpye. Grandfather noticed that the book was completely, the corners were folded and they were in the dog ear. That's called dog-eared book. With this, Sai learned to respect feelings about books early in life. So one incident was when she stepped on the book in the library. Second incident was when grandfather saw the book with the dog ears, right? Dog ears means of foldings in the corner. So these two incidents made her feel how important knowledge is for us, how important the books are for us in the life, right? Flair of imagination. As we know that Sai is not of a normal girl. She's something different, right? You all are also something different. You all are very much capable enough to do anything, right? So tell me a story, Appa, Sai said one day as they set out. No, said Appa grimly. Today you tell one. You will tell one story to me. I'm going to tell the stories. Yes, because generally when you are with the elders, you ask the parents to tell the stories and you love it. So same manner, Sai Paranjpye also asked the grandfather to tell one story. So Sai's grandfather told, no, I'm not going to tell any stories to you. Now you have to tell a story and I will listen to it. And she did. She didn't say, no, I will not tell, you only have to tell. She didn't say like that. What did she say? She said, okay, I will tell a story. She did. It was a fairy tale. Fairy tale it seems. Fairy tale means fairy story. The story which has all the dragons, princes, talking parrots and hidden gold. Imagine how beautiful the story would be. Yes. So she started telling the story which has all these things. Dragons, right? And the talking parrots and the princes. All these things were there. And it was so nice. It has come so well. Okay. Then Sai completed her tale with and they lived happily even after she completed the story. And then at the end, what was the conclusion? The conclusion was that they all lived happily. Right? Then Sai's grandfather expressed in this way. Said Appa. Quite interesting. Where did you read this? I didn't. I made it up, cried Sai. Grandfather was so inspired, so impressed with the story. So impressed. We asked immediately, where did you read the story from? Sai Paranjpye said, oh, I didn't read this story. I made it. It's my own creation. And grandfather was so happy the way she has created the story. Yes? So when you do small things at home and parents feel so happy, your parents, your grandparents, they start appreciating you. Yes, in the same manner, that appreciation will give you a boosting energy, right? So that's what the girl has done. The girl was so happy when grandfather said, you made the story. It was so wonderful, Sai Paranjpye. So that was perhaps her first flight of fancy and the beginning of a wonderful world of creativity. That was the first story, and which was created by her own creation, and it was a wonderful world of creativity. How nice it is. Now, let's see some of her works. Sai wrote her first book when she was just 8 years old, and her first book was called Mulancha Mera. Yes, 8 years, generally you imagine, 8 years children, what they'll be doing? They'll be having a lot of fun and they'll be always playing, right? But this girl was not like that. What did she do? She has put her imagination and she has put onto the paper, right? Okay, she has put it onto the paper. And what she has done? She made her first book. What was the book name? Mulancha Mera. Her first book name is Mulancha Mera. Remember the name? Because this was her first book, right? And she is now 82 and has recently translated her own autobiography, A Patchwork Quilt, a collage of my creative life. Autobiography, you know the meaning or difference of biography and autobiography? Auto is the book which you write about yourself. Biography is you write about someone, right? This is the meaning. So she has written her own autobiography. What was the name of it? The name of it was A Patchwork Quilt. Okay, so 8 to 82. What did we see from 8 to 82? 8 years, she has written her first book. 82, she is still working. She has translated her own autobiography. Right? Famous news site wrote about this book as below. One of the famous sites has written about this book as below. Like this it was written, it seems. It always helps to understand chronology, especially when reading an autobiography. But a patchwork quilt is different. You can dive right into the middle, return to the beginning, or cheat read the concluding chapters. whatever the point of ingress or egress, you will always encounter a rewarding anecdote or poignant memory or a hug of humor. Generally, autobiographies, you will have the beginning, like date of childhood days, then the early education, then the schooling, then the college, then the awards, and the reward. Like this, it goes on every autobiography. But this patch of quilt is wherever you read, from the end you start, from the beginning you do it, but it would be very easy to understand. This was the comment written in one of the famous news sites, right? So, this is the famous news site. It was one of the famous news sites has written about the book in such a way, right? Now, let's see what made her work so special. Yes, what made her work so special? All my films addressed the needs of that time. I am so delighted and gratified that they live on today and people still think and say good things about them. You can see the different works, yes, and you can see some of the moments of her direction, right? And she says whenever she has planned a movie, whenever she was directing a movie, what was her main intention? To plan about the needs of the day. It was not just a commercial movie, right? Her plan was only to reach the needs of the day. Even because of that reason, even today, people still think of those stories, think of those movies, and she feels so happy, so gratified. Yes, now we are going to see one more wonderful slide here. What is it? It's about doll weddings. Doll weddings, have you heard about it? Most of you have played too, right? So when you get some time, when you get some holidays, so what do? You all your neighbors, all your friends, yes, you all gather in one place and you start making the doll weddings, right? Where these doll weddings come from, we'll see. A doll weddings, one of her fascinations, one interesting, very, very interesting, very fascinating doll weddings is of Sai Paranjpye's, right? What is a doll wedding? Let's see what is actually a doll wedding. Famous Maharashtrian traditional game. It was a game from Maharashtra, right? Because she used to belong, she was from Pune. So this game is from Maharashtra. And kids perform weddings of bride doll and groom doll. Yes? Share good. Good means jaggery. And poha. You know poha, no? Beaten rice. You call in Kannada as avalakki, right? So what is a doll wedding, it seems? Doll wedding is you take two dolls, one as the bride doll, and the other one as the bridegroom doll, right? And you perform marriage for both the dolls. That's called as the doll weddings. And this is very interesting for Sai Paranjpye. Whenever she used to get some time, she used to get engaged in this with all other friends. Okay. And what do they do after the marriage? After they perform marriage for the dolls, they share good and poha. After marriage, what do? You offer food to all the people, all the relatives, all the neighbors. So it's a doll wedding. So they also share good and the poha, right? So you can see a picture. You can see one image here where the dolls, two dolls you can see. One is a bride doll and one is the bridegroom doll, and the wedding is being performed. What happened, it seems there was a pleasant surprise for her. When she finished her school on one day and she went back home, there was a pleasant surprise for her. What was the pleasant surprise? When she came back from school, her entire house looked like a marriage hall. Whole entire house was decorated with the mango leaves, decorative papers, everything it seems. Sai was dressed like a bride's mother. Sai was dressed like a bride's mother. And the band arrived. The groom rode on a real steed, real horse, right? All the children of the locality took part. The bride was brought with religious chants. Yes, how beautiful, how fun you will have when you do these kind of things, no? But these days, do you have time to do this? These days, do you find interesting to do these kind of things? Most of the time, most of the children are busy playing with the mobiles, right? When you get some time, do this, you will have a lot of fun. Okay, so what did they do? She entered house and she could see that the house was decorated with all the mango leaves, all the decorative things, right? And she was dressed like a size and doll's mother, right? Bride's mother. And there was a horse. You know, no, when there is a marriage, there will be barat, right? So like that, there was a real steed. Real steed means there was a real horse, and the groom rode on that. Groom sat on the horse, and they brought the groom to the place, right? So this was very, very fascinating thing for Sai in her childhood, right? And you can see the dolls getting married here. The mother that day, who is the mother? Sai Paranjpye, who acted as a mother for the groom doll, right? So fond of drama. She was so fond of dramas, right? Grew up to become one of India's best leading filmmakers and theatre personalities. So the act which she used to perform, the drama or the game which she used to play at very young age, right? So that day she thought that I should grew up to become one of India's leading filmmaker and theatre personalities, right? Now, let's go to the glossary. Shall we see the glossary? What is the glossary? We find some strange words in the lesson, some new vocabulary. We should learn the meanings of it. Shall we learn? Right, let's see. So we have come across some of the words in the lesson. You might be thinking that what could be the meaning of this, right? Let's see what are the meaning of those words. Plump. Yes, have we heard this word plump? Yes, the Sai Paranjpye was a plump girl. What's the meaning of plump? Round and fat, means short and chubby, plump. Okay? Next one, fables. Short imaginary stories. Sai Paranjpye used to create own fables, right? Fables are short and imaginary stories. Senior wrangler. A person who tops in maths exam from Cambridge University. Who was senior wrangler? Sai Paranjpye's grandfather. Replete with, full of. Mulancha Mera. What is Mulancha Mera? Sai Paranjpye's first story when she was at 8 years, she has written this story. A Marathi phrase, my dream child. What's the meaning of Mulancha Mera? Mulancha Mera means my dream child. That's the meaning of the title. Okay. Next, dragons. Where did you hear the word dragons? Yes, that's right. Sai Paranjpye has illustrated one story to grandfather. Yes, in that she created dragons, she created princes, talking parrots, right? There you heard the word dragons. What is dragons? Crocodile-like big animals with wings. Dragons will have wings and they look like the crocodiles, big. Okay. Flights of fancy, wings of imagination. What's called flights of fancy? Giving wings to your imagination is called flights of fancy. Revered, respected. We call revered grandfather, revered Murthy Anna. So what is this meaning of this? Revered means respected personality. Froze, past tense of freeze. Cold that turns water to ice. When you put some water in the freezer, what happens after 3-4 hours? It gets frozen. Frozen means it becomes ice. The liquid form changes into the solid form, right? But here, the meaning of froze is not making the water into the eyes. Here, the froze means scared. When was she froze? Yes, that's right. You all are getting good answers. Very nice to hear. So, froze is when Sai Paranjpye, when she stepped onto the book at the library, then what she has done? When grandfather told her that, what did grandfather say? Sai Paranjpye, stop there, don't move. Then Sai Paranjpye was so shocked. She froze. Meekly, mildly. Yes, mild, soft, innocent. Dog-eared. What is called the dog-eared? We have already discussed. Corners of the pages are turned down. We all children know. So, have the dog-ears for the books. We all have our books. All half of the books are dog-eared books. Yes? Yes, no? Very good. You all accept it. Jeered, mocked, laughed at. Where did we come across this word? Yes, when the girl was fat in the very young age, all the other friends used to tease her. Yes, they used to jeer, mock at her. Crumpled, crushed. When was this word come across? Where did we come across this word? Yes, when all the boys and girls teased her, she was crumpled. She was very crushed, very disappointed. No one is there to play with her. Glumly, gloomily, sadly. Sidelines, area just outside a sports field. Hidden, covered. You hide the things, no? You hide some papers, you hide some toys in your cupboards. That's called hidden, hiding, right? I have hidden my favorite toy in the rack because I don't want anyone to play with her, right? Treasure. What's a treasure? Wealth, right? It cannot be only the wealth, the gold, or cannot be only money. Treasure means it can be anything. Wealth means wealth, a treasure of knowledge, right? Cast a spell of magic. Narrated the story which attracted everyone. What did she do? She started narrating a story which was very interesting for all the children. Fascinated, attracted. What was her fascination? Yes, that's good. Sai Paranjpye's fascination was to create stories and to play doll marriages, right? Traditional, being part of the customs of a particular group of people that has not changed for a long time. So, tradition in our family, we have some traditions, right? So, that tradition it has begun in ancient days by our great grandfathers, but still we follow that. That's called the tradition, right? Steed, riding. Okay. So, we have a next word, steed. Riding horse. Where did we come across the steed? Yes, when the girl Sai Paranjpye was performing the doll marriages, the groom was brought on a steed, right? Oh, glossary is over. Now we are going to do the question and answers. Are we ready? I know that you all understood the story very well, and immediately I show the question and you'll be answering it. Yes? Are you ready? Let's see the questions. Who was usually a playing companion for Sai in her childhood? I'll show the questions. I'm not going to show the answers to you. You have to think about it. Later in the next slide, we discuss the answers. Okay? Who was affectionately called Appa? When was the grandfather very much impressed by Sai's ability? What was Sai's first published book? Sai froze. When did this happen? You got the answers, right? Now let's see the answers. What are the answers given? Who was usually a playing companion for Sai in her childhood? Very good. That's the answer. Usually, a playing companion for Sai in her childhood was her grandfather, Sir R.P. Paranjpye. Okay? who was affectionately called Appa. Sir R.P. Paranjpye was affectionately called Appa. Who was her? Who was he? He was Sai's grandfather, right? When was the grandfather very much impressed by Sai's ability? One day, her grandfather asked her to tell him a story. Sai told him a story which was replete, which was with full of replete word we come across. We have come across the word in the glossary. Replete means full of with dragons, princes, talking parrots and hidden gold. When her grandfather came to know that Sai has made up the story herself, he was greatly impressed with her creative ability. A girl, small girl who was 6-7 years and who creates a story like this, right? Don't they appreciate? You get so many appreciations from many people, right? Even she got the appreciation, and then the grandfather realized that Sai has very creative ability, right? What was Sai's first published book? Correct, that's right. Sai's first published book was Mulancha Mera, a book of fairy tales, which means my dream child or my favorite child. Right? We have come across this meaning also in the glossary. Sai froze. When did this happen? One day, she stepped on a book by mistake as she entered the library. Her grandfather ordered her to stop right there. Sai got scared. She stood there without moving. That's called froze, but not keeping the water in the freeze, and after that it becomes ice. Here froze meaning is scared. Okay? Let's see, there is an activity here. What is the activity? We'll see. Okay, so glossary we have seen, question and answers we have seen, but we have some more questions. We'll see in the next slides. Okay, some terms that describe people are given here. Classify them under desirable and not so desirable. Complaining, creative, imaginative, short-tempered, lazy, spirited, social, glum, jovial, innovative, lethargic, double-tongued, lax, jealous, creative. These are the different words given. You have to divide into the two categories. One is desirable, one is not so desirable. Example here, one word is given for us. Creative comes under desirable. Jealous. Jealous comes under desirable. No, it comes under not so desirable, right? In the same way, you should identify these words which comes into these two categories. Okay? Hope you all studied doing it. Right. Let's see which words comes into which category. Desirable, imaginative, spirited, social, jovial, innovative, creative. All these are the desirable characters? Yes, right. So these all words comes under the desirable character, and it comes under this category. Next we have not so desirable. What are the words? What characters comes under the not so desirable? Complaining. You always complain about someone. That's a desirable. No, that's not desirable character. The complaining, jealous, short-tempered, lethargic, double-tongued, lax and glum. These are the words which comes under not so desirable. Hope you all understood it and you already started doing it. Okay, I know you all are very, very smart children. Let's see the next assignment. Yes, shall we? Right. How could Sai draw the attention of her playmates while they made fun of her? You know, when they all were making fun of her, how did Sai draw the attention of the other girls? Think about it. We will discuss the answer in the next slide, right? What fascinated Sai as a child? right? What interested? What was her favorite interest? What interested her as a child? Why is the word mother given within the inverted commas in the 16th and 17th paragraphs? There is a word mother which is given in the inverted commas. Why is it so? Let's see. How could Sai draw the attention of her playmates while they made fun of her? Sai was a fat girl. Her friends made fun of her, saying that she could not run. She was not active and would make their team weak. These were the comments given by the friends. But she drew the attention of her playmates by telling them interesting stories and making them enact the roles as she directed. How wonderful it is, see? The girl who was being teased by everyone. So how did she do the attention of the other classmates? By doing this. She started enacting the scenes and also telling good stories. What fascinated Sai as a child? Sai was greatly fascinated by Doll's Wedding, a traditional game played by Maharashtrian girls, right? Why is the word mother given within the inverted commas in the 16th and 17th paragraphs? Why it was given so? Yes, that's right answer. Let's see. Mother here refers to the little girl Sai. She was the role playing the character of bride's mother in a marriage of dolls celebrated like a real wedding. This doll's wedding is almost celebrated like a real wedding. Okay, whole full house is decorated with all the decorative things and even the mango leaves, everything almost like a normal marriage it is being performed. So she was playing the character of a bride, so mother of the bride's mother. So that's the reason she was called as mother, and that was given in the inverted commas, right? Now we have another activity. So this activity is, let's see what the activity is. Give the antonyms of the following. Use them in the blanks appropriately. So there are some words given here. Short, fast, dim, beginning, young. Are we going to write the same words in the blanks? No, we are supposed to write the antonyms of the given words. Like short. What's the antonym? Tall. Very good. Wonderful. Fast. Slow. Dim. Bright. Beginning. End. Young. Old. Right? Like this, we are going to write the antonyms of this given words. Okay? Now, let's see what are the answers. An old man appeared on the stage, walking slowly at the end of the play, just before the close of the show. Soon, the audience stood up as the lights were switched on. In that bright light, they could see the director, a tall man with an imposing figure. Did we take the words from the brackets? No, we have not taken, because the instructions were very clear to us. It was that you are supposed to make the antonyms for these words. Antonyms are the opposites. Yes, you know very well. So antonyms are the opposites. We have written the opposites for these words. Short, tall. Fast, slow. Yes, as per the sentence, you have to change it. Walking slowly, dim, bright, beginning, and then young, old. Have you got all the words? Yes. Now we have another activity. Give the negative forms of these words using a prefix. What is a prefix? You see, used here. You see, unused here. What is this unused called? Un is the prefix, the word which you add before the word. Okay, the two letters which you add before the words are called as suffix or prefix. The word which you add at the end is called as suffix. Now we are not going to look at the suffixes, only prefixes we'll see, right? So give the negative forms of these words using the prefix. Change the article if necessary. So we have an example here. A familiar sight and unfamiliar sight. Why did a change into an? Yes, that's right answer. Because you have added un. Right? You added un to the word. So when you add un, what happens? This is the vowel sound. Before the vowel sound, what comes? An has to be taken, not a. Here you don't have the vowel sound, so a was taken. But whereas for the vowel sounds, before the vowel sounds, you should write an. Hope you understood the difference? Right. A familiar sight, an unfamiliar sight. A used towel, an unused towel. A prepared speech, a prepared becomes an unprepared speech. An attentive soldier, an inattentive, not unattentive, inattentive soldier. A successful attempt, an unsuccessful attempt. An organized show, a disorganized show. Okay? A satisfied person, a dissatisfied person. Right? Okay. So hope you all understood. Have to change the words. You can go through the slide again so that you can be more clear with this. Right? So you got the answer for this? Okay. It was so nice meeting you all. Hope you all understood the lesson very well. And we have done few activities and the question and answers. Right? Go through the text again and recap all the things what we have done. Watch the video again and again for more clarity. Watch the video and go through the textbook, right? So it will give you clear understanding of the lesson. Thank you so much.